Welcome to your Trade of the Day, brought to you by Day Trade the World as always. And hey, it's going to be GameStop, and had to be a little bit early on this one if you wanted to catch the move. Story last week was S3's CEO talking about if it got over 30 bucks, it could squeeze again. So, well, how is it down over beneath 30? Let's have a quick look at the daily chart. Got to pop up because you got to go way back and look what happened to this thing when it got underneath 30. So the idea is that you've been in this bottom channel, 24 in the bottom, essentially 30 on the high. This is all since they had that split to the downside. The split, that's why it was trading a little bit lower. It was up in the 100s before this. And essentially, you had on Friday it testing a break off of this level. So we come in this morning with a little bit of hype behind it. The freight train is rolling in, and you were already challenging and breaking said 30 level. So 30 is the obvious number. That's that land that I like. There's a couple of opportunities that you could have had off the open to grab it. Now, I happen to have it in the pre-market here, but if you were trading it at the open, there certainly was this chance to get in at 31s. You could have had 30 and a half, where I was getting it early in the pre-market. There was even a dip down into the 30 level. But the real story for a trade like this is, you know what squeezes to the upside, and a lot of times you get that sell the event. We haven't really had those parabolic multi-day moves in quite some time. As you can see when you look at the daily charts, you really just want to be capturing that big candle wick, move to the upside, and then get out of dodge. So you ask yourself, well, where do you have any targets that'll come in? It's all well and good to say, okay, sell some in front of the high, sell some when it gets to a nice little even $1.32 level, but what are you holding for? And this is where I come back to the gap fill. Look at the size of this 30 gap fill all the way up to 37. And I've highlighted that 37 because when it pulled back in, you can see it broke a little support there. And then when it managed to bounce off 35, it pops to 37, fades again, and then you have 2 days in a row with a 35 high. So those are the two lines in the sand, 35 and 37. So I'm always looking for that parabolic wick top failure. Now this is real. It goes right to $35. Rejects it on a dime. The second it gets up there, trailing stop, 34.50. If it breaks 35, hold to 37. If it fails to break, get out on the backside at 34.50. Now, on a normal day, I would be short this for sure at the top. But you've caught me in a bit of a transitional period, and I was really only looking for the long in GameStop. So normally, I'd see that wick and be looking for the short off of that level with the stop at the high of the day. I don't do it. I was only thinking long, so I got out of the long. It halts to the downside right here, goes into a halt when it breaks 32. It actually had halted up at the open, and we were sitting in it in the money at the time, so no real reason to get out. But when it opens up, it makes one last test at that 30 level, bounces off it once, see it come into support. I wanted to see it support first, and then take a shot going long. Did not last very long. Blast through that 30, and as a matter of fact, is continuing even lower. Is it catching a bit of a bid? Maybe, but I don't know how much I love. 28 was previous lower resistance on this. I don't know how much I love that support till it starts bouncing, but we did take a second shot at it. A lot of times, I pay for locates. That's a short that I would want to have, but some days you got to pick a direction, then it's easier to work off that one. You got to give these room to run. It's all well good, take $1, take $2, but you want to have something on board for that bigger play. When it tests to that next level, that's why you get into the squeeze. Of course, it's always just a day trade here. This is your trade of the day, brought to you by Day Trade the World. Happy Halloween.